Hi. So it is super early in the morning, but it is late afternoon, evening in Korea, out of Seoul, in fact. And the reason why that is important is because they just released a boatload of information that we haven't gotten a chance to really discuss recently about Chaos Zero Nightmare. If you don't know what Chaos Zero Nightmare is, it is a free to play gacha that is coming out from Smilegate and Super Creative. It is a card game, turn based RPG style um, roguelite game. It's all over the place. Um, we'll see some stuff. So I was able to get my hands on a bunch of assets. We've got some really high quality wallpapers. We've got some character art to look at. They did a bunch of stuff. So basically today, well, yesterday actually, they had the first look event in Seoul, Korea, and it went off great. Apparently, but they gave us some logos, some screenshots, some videos to share. So I wanted to go over them with you, discuss them with you. Have you guys take a look at this, kind of as side part look of what they showed to the fans and the folks in Korea, um, sort of ahead of time. I think it'll be cool. Um, so I guess without further ado, let's get into it. So this is actually their primary key art for Chaos Zero Nightmare. You've got like your characters, the big chaos in the background, and you can really feel the tension in the face, which I think is really good. But then they also sent us like a heap of other stuff, which is really cool. We've got this, which is like um, it's just this has got a really good composition. So like basically, I'm not trying to like nitpick the art because I'm not an artist by any stretch of the imagination. Um, but what they've done here is basically shown off a bunch of beautiful stuff that they've put together for us as content creators, as stove creators. It's really funny. They have this game store that they're playing the game that they basically launched the game through called Stove. Stove is their marketplace, basically like Steam, but for Korea. Has a ton of games on it, um, including Epic Seven, and eventually we'll also have Chaos Zero Nightmare. Yeah, and it's the PC client that they've got. Obviously, their games are also on Android and iOS and stuff like that too. Anyway, let's pull this up to you really quick. So I know I'm telling you. So this is kind of the concept stuff they showed. So like obviously you've got like this is kind of like a lore shot of basically their explanation of what Chaos Zero Nightmare actually is. I don't speak Korean. I am not fluent by any stretch of the imagination, so I can only extrapolate just based on what I can see here that this is most likely a screenshot basically depicting information about what this game actually is. What is the core elevator pitch of CZN, which is basically it is a 2D card deck build card game playing deck building roguelite where you take a team of 3 into combat monsters and the nightmare um, to try to protect, save humanity. Um, got some key points. So you can see here you've got your characters that can gain inspiration during combat that can boost the abilities of the cards that you're playing in your combat. You can gain items, upgrade your cards, and split your cards into different sort of bonuses as you are in combat and as you play through the roguelite mode. So that was like an example of gaining like an inspiration bonus. So like normally the card would do 240%, and then if you get the enlightened bonus, it does an additional 100. And that's basically what we saw here. So 240% of the base of the character's base damage, and then with the light bulb going off, it gained an additional 100. So here's like gaining an item, showing the currently equipped items. You've got a weapon, armor, and an accessory for each of the three characters. The character can gain different rarities, and then each rarity has a star bonus that kind of boosts the overall power and stats and item. It's standard gotcha fare for items. Standard item fare, I suppose I should say. So this is an example that they showed of what happens when a card splits in combat. This is another very typical mechanic that you see in card battling, deck building, like roguelite, other roguelite games, where basically you start with a card that starts at 2 points with a base damage. So in this case, it's base 240 damage. If you inspire, you gain the additional damage plus the 100% boost. However, in this case, the card is split into three. This gives you the ability to either spend 1 point to do the ability, one action point, do the exact same thing. So it makes it cheaper for the same card, which that's pretty good. Same cost, but it boosts the base power and the inspiration power, but you can only use it once. The third one is I'm not entirely. I don't want to speculate on what that is because I'm not entirely sure. It looks like it's the same base damage. It gains an additional point of something. You have the same inspiration bonus, but then it also has another set. Like it also gives you like whatever this is. Does it again? I don't. Again, I don't speak Korean. I don't know what that means. But the baseline is this is pretty standard fare for a lot of deck building roguelites where you get the ability to have the cards split into multiple different variations, and then that goes into the deck for the rest of your run. So that's really cool. So here we have like an ascended boosted thing for like another card that splits. So like you can see there's a couple of different things that you'll notice on this one that you don't have the other one. First of all, the awesome music and the cool background with like the angel hands and stuff like that. So you have a basic version of the card that got boosted damage and output in the inspiration bonus. You'll also notice that it has a specific like element type here, and it's a completely different element type here on this middle card that gets like super boosted like overall. Um, I guess like if you're in a specific state with this character, it changes her element type from like thunder to like holy or like holy to like grand or something like that. I don't know the full element listing, but like that is a thing that can happen here. So like you can see like again, it's just a breakdown of it. Like this one makes it more expensive, but it does more damage and it has like an additional set of uh like element boosts and stuff like that. So yeah, it's actually really pretty robust from what I can see so far. So that looks like the end of a combat boost. You gain a new card that can go into your deck, and you can add it to any of one of the three characters that you have in your run, because each character has their own deck, and each character will draw cards from that deck to do their abilities while they're in combat, which I think is really cool. Got some more information, some stuff about that. Make sure I know where I'm at with this. Okay. The Look into what that was. Um. Anyway, next is okay. So this I think is okay. So now that we've kind of gone over like what the combat and the game flow is, they started showing off like animation passes and animations in the game in general, and then like they kind of drilled into like the characters. So you have your base level, you have your initial backgrounds, you have your front characters with lighting, with shading, with lighting, with filters like the dust across the ground and stuff like that. And this kind of gives you a picture of like how many layers they put together in the animation to just do what they did with it, which again, super insane. Like this is high quality stuff. Like Smilegate and Super Creative, they did not hold back. Smilegate did not hold back. They did not in any capacity hold back, and I think that's dope. here's just a static animation. There's the water coming out of the pipe. I didn't catch it the first time I looked at this. He's got like bear trap knuckles. What in the nonsense? And then like, I'm gonna make this. I hate. I'm not using my normal media player for the videos, so it's kind of rough. Say it again. But then like the tree swaying in the rain and like the spill over here. Oh, there's like a little cat on the back. This is so cool. Like just the little details they added to just the combat screen is phenomenal. I'm so excited for this game. If you haven't figured it out, this looks great. Like the quality and the level of polish that they've put into something like this is phenomenal. We've got more make choices, menus, things like that. I'm pretty sure this is like an explanation of specific mechanics that occur while you're in combat. If at any point in time, if at any point in time you're able to like meet certain criteria, you can continue on with the combat. But if you mess up, you die, and it's brutal. But yeah, so as you can see here, the you know what I just realized? Y'all have not been able to hear the sound on this. So this is gonna be a little loud, but I'll play it again. So yeah, so one of the main mechanics of this game is your characters can have trauma breaks. So they get to a point where they're low on health, or a specific thing happens, or something goes wrong, and they have these breaks, which is a very Darkest Dungeon kind of thing, where like they have these little episodic oopsies, and like they have a debuff kind of hit the character. It's something very similar in this, where they have a break because of their trauma, and every character has a different trauma associated with them, and each trauma causes different sort of faces, different emotions that each one shares with you when they break. Yeah, this picture has been circulating around a lot for people who want to play this game. So yeah, it's a little crazy. A little crazy. They go crazy. They all go crazy. She died. So yeah, like I said, it is brutal. The game is very brutal. Here we have some screenshots. So we're gonna get a little more screenshots of some of the characters. So for instance, like I said, each of the different types of trauma causes them to go into different like mental states. Crazy, lustful, kind of dead inside. I don't know what this one is specifically, but like they all kind of go into these different like variation states because of the trauma breaks. Cool. That was not what I was kind of hoping I could pause it before she gets. So building off of that, we go into what is basically the next step, which is, of course, what everyone really wants to know: combat. How does the combat work? So you have a deck for each character. Each character will then, whichever character you have in the turn order, will take their turn, and they draw. Was that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards? And you have action points per character that you can spend to play any of these cards. So like this one's 0. You've got like 4 cards that cost 1, and then you've got like a big super extra punchy one for like 2. And you, of course, because if you have multiple points, you can spend multiple points to play multiple cards, to do combos, to do more damage, buff, alt, so on and so forth. Once you've completed, you'll hit the check mark to hit OK. It'll take the cards out of your deck, put them in your hand, you play the cards, you hit OK. Then anything that's left over gets discarded, be recycled after the deck has emptied. Wow.
行きましょうか。高速違反ですよ。
待って貴様の分命令空虚の中
何する。
Damn. That's pretty cool, honestly. All right, so let's see if we can. So the first card she plays, it looks like it's 100% buff to her damage. Discards that card, so she gets like an attack. Yeah, so she gets an attack buff. Then she plays this gauntlet card, which adds an additional 25%. Like it's probably to everybody. It's like a 25% damage increase to everyone in the party. Then she plays Punchy Punch, which is basically like discards that card to draw 2 new cards and reduce the cost of both of those cards by one. By one. Discard or draw 2 cards, decrease the cost of those cards by one, which is sort of how it goes. So they both come in at 1 cost. They both get reduced by 1. Now they're both 0. She plays this gauntlet attack, which does 125% of her damage. Noting that you can see here that it's weak to her type of damage. So like I think this is probably fire element. I'm just guessing. Then does the kick combo, which originally was, it looks like it was supposed to be 125, and then it got boosted to 188 when she played it because of the combo. And then she finishes the combo with like this big 2-point ult. Does a buttload of damage and then just this giant flying finishing kick for buttload of damage. Since it died before she could play whatever her last card was, it just kind of sticks. The enemy dies, they move on to the combat. And so you can kind of get the flow for the combat of kind of how it works. Everybody gets different cards that do different things, so on and so forth. Which again, that's pretty standard fare. But like the one thing that you could really take away from that is just the animation in this game is gorgeous, absolutely pretty. The 2D animated sprites they've got. So like here's our punch gal. We've got like her big dragon fist thing. She's super cute. So we've got, so this is like her standard initial, in the same vein of like Grand Blue Fantasy and like other, and in Fate Go and all of the other kind of games that when you boost them past a certain star rating, they gain a bonus alt art for their character art. So she goes from that to this. So this is like her maximized limit broken crazy maximum like 5-star art, which is also really cool looking. Yeah, no, she's got this cute jacket. I love her jacket. A little bit more of a close up with her. You can hear Kipao. This is something I was really happy they showed. Look at all these little animation sprites. They got all of these different attack sprites and like animation sprites and stuff for like her stances, and then like her in like different states and stuff like that. Like the big down punch with her hair, like oh, it's so cute. Look at her. She's adorable, by the way. I think the next is a video of like her ulting and stuff like that. All right, so you'll note there's 2 different types of cards too. You'll notice, you know, like so, like with this one, it's got like this rainbow sheen to it. These are like specially powered cards that do like bigger damage based on the fact that they're kind of like hard alts basically. They're like ultimate attacks. They do extra damage. But that being said, here is her ult.
最終奥義遠流降臨方向か竜強天
I don't know. I don't know if you saw how much damage that did. That's a lot of damage. Almost 14k, brother. That's crazy. Destroy that. So she's got like an ult that's like this dragon summoning install where she like gains a huge boost to all of her damage output, and then she does her giant dive kick and just obliterates that dude. Obviously they've got like side stories for the characters as you do in all gachas, so this is just kind of her having a little conversation with you as the player.
あ、艦長殿私は明日の試験に勝利するために奮闘していたところでございますここに来てまだまだ学ぶことが多いと痛感しております地球の地下で過ごしていた頃は全く知らなかったものばかりで大変ですが乗り越えるべきでございますね私の点数でございますか見てはなりませんこれはまだ修行が足りないゆえに艦長殿が直接ご指導を誠でございますかなんてお優しいこんな簡単な問題にもつまずいてしまう私を気にかけてくださるなんてならば私も艦長殿のご好意に応えてみせないとそれこそ修行者たるものの道理
Oh my god, she's
より一層励み明日の試験では必ずや勝利をこの手に収めてまいります
He's adorable. But yeah, like you'll get these really adorable little interactions and conversations with the characters like you do just about in every gacha, but like they're all fully voiced. And as far as I can tell, for the most part, when they do these kinds of scenes, the subtitles are less intrusive because they don't put like a big speech bubble in them. It's just their text, which I think is super cool. You don't see that a ton in like all cutscenes. So it's like here's an example of like example decks for her. So you got like a lot of the same cards that do kind of the same thing. You got, 100% Knuckle Punch. You've got Aura. Get your kick, draw 2, reduce cost by 1, stuff like that. The animations for like the rainbow cards and stuff like that. Very cool.
方向準備完了でございます下流よ燃え上がれ攻撃と防御準備は昇竜脚下流強天
Yeah, that's just her doing her normal combo again, which that's pretty. So here are some illustrations of the break mechanic again. So when you go through and things happen and you're trying to fight the monsters of chaos, and as you do, bad things happen. Characters will break because of their trauma. And so, as you can see here, our poor punchy girl has entered a very confused state. She's got the little spiral wiggles in her eyes and around her, and she's like, it's. But every character has a different reaction to different states that they can be put into. So, like I said, there's confused, there's kind of dead inside, there's remotely controlled, and then there's like the lustful ones and stuff. Like this one's her lustful one. She doesn't actually have like the hard eyes. She can see the drool in her mouth though. So like, there's a lot of different states. I don't speak Korean, so I don't know what any of this means, but obviously we've got some menu shots here of kind of like how the sort of main menus kind of look, leading into like this is like part of the roguelite section. This is what like each different section would look like based on the different variables and things that you can do. Um, which it's pretty cool. I crack open this PDF really quick. I think the PDF is literally just the same thing that we just went through. Um, hoping it would have text in it, but it doesn't. So moving on. From there, they actually added some additional shots, like high quality 1080 stuff, um, for like the menus. So this gives you kind of an idea. I'm gonna kind of speed through really quick, just because obviously it's all in Korean and I can't really explain it. But for those of you who are seasoned gacha players, for those of you who know kind of how most of this works, this is like what the story mode screen stuff looks like. Got your mission, objectives, rewards, additional win rewards, things like that. It's very simple. It's just your agent loadout. You pick which agents you take with you, what level they are. Um, some like small cutscene things like cut-ins, cut-ins for your characters when they do specific moves, things like that. When like this is a level up screen, that's pretty obvious. You've got their mindscapes or your cinemas or whatever it is you call it from whatever game you come from. This is when you get multiple copies of the same character, you can unlock additional boosts to their powers, just like you do in every other gacha. Very simple. Then you also have sort of like a talent tree that you can use to unlock. So you actually two different currencies for it. And this gives you like additional bonus, like this is 5% increased attack, and then you can like gain percentages and all kinds of other like super bonuses and stuff like that as you level the character with your different currencies. More background shots, more enemies. The enemy variety in this game is phenomenal so far. Like there's a lot of stuff that doesn't look the same. I think that's really cool. You got this weird parasite bug, creepy, and whatever the hell that thing is. Ugh. Weird ghostly spirit apparitions. Got some more UI shots here. Um, whatever the heck this thing is. Got like a giant boneyard on its back. Brother, game's crazy. The monster, the enemy variety in this game is phenomenal so far. So this is an example of what happens when. So you can see there's a little icon here and an icon here that show mind break. Um, you can do specific things with these cards that only show up when your character is in a broken state. If you're able to repair their mental state during the fight, they will gain a buff and a boon for breaking that state, and they do more damage and can do other ones. They can like support better, they heal, they damage. It's crazy. They have high defense. It's really cool. So like, I believe that's just more like combat stuff. More death screens. Yay, they died. More cut in animations and stuff. That's a ma'am. Ma'am. Ma'am, please. Um as far as I can tell, the way it basically works is there's two things here. The thing that you're really looking for here is this meter along the left. This meter here is your timed ability meter. So basically, the amount of points that you see on these cards is how many points you'll spend when you actually play the card from this meter here. And it's constantly refilling as the combat is continuing, which is very like Teppen. That's Teppen mentioned, right? Or alt cut shots, cut ins, AoEs, or menus. He's really cool looking. I don't have an Aijitsu problem. I don't have an Aijitsu problem. I promise. Or menus. Really cool cut. God, she's so cool looking. Decisions that can be made during your runs for like the roguelite stuff. Like so yeah, they have put a ton of absolute quality into this. Now obviously I've got a second thing that I've got a bunch of other like character portraits and stuff like that for like what happens when they're broken versus what happens when they're maxed and so on and so forth. But like yeah, the the overall here, the overall takeaway from this is it CZN looks phenomenal. I'm overly excited for this game to actually come out, and I can't wait to get a chance to play it. Because it just looks great. Art is great, animation quality is great, the combat looks really interesting. The whole deck building aspect of it for each character having their own deck. Yeah, I think that's really cool. And like you can combo the cards from other decks of like other characters can combo while your primary attacker is going. That seems really cool. I dig it. Um, but yeah, I tell me what you guys think. Are you excited for this game? Have you played Epic 7 before? And if so, are you excited to play CZN? Are you new to Smilegate? Um, and this has piqued your interest? I hope so. I'm gonna be playing the crap out of this game when it comes out. Um, I know I said that with ZZZ, but and I still play ZZZ. I just not on stream. It's mostly just when story content comes up. This is something I'm gonna spend a lot of time with because kind of like with like Umusume, it's a card game at its heart, and the roguelike elements and the deck building elements, like all of that, really appeals to someone like me. So I'm super excited to play this and have time to like sit down and really deck build and run the roguelike modes to level up and all that kind of stuff. I'm incredibly excited for this. So tell me what you guys think about the game in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.